Good afternoon, class. I just thought I'd give you a brief overview of week one as it relates to this particular English class that it's basically online. It's the 1010 English class. My name is Mr. Wilson. I will be your instructor for the next 10 weeks or so. Basically, what I'm going to show you with this video is sort of go through sort of the operation of Blackboard, where you can find the course information, your course textbooks, the lessons that you're going to have to do from week to week. Just a basic overview. We will probably talk a little bit about sort of the first couple assignments um, that you're going to have to do. One is coming up this Sunday. I'm actually going to have to upload that particular assignment because it seems like it didn't go over from last week when I was trying to upload and get everything kind of ready. So be on the outlook for that. It should be up there by, obviously it's going to be up there by Sunday. I hope to get that up there, if not later today, definitely by midweek, which would be by Wednesday at least, if not earlier. So obviously double check your Blackboard course page to get that particular assignment. I hope everybody's doing well for the summer semester back. We did have sort of a quick little 10-day break, really, between spring and summer. So I hope everybody is doing well. I hope the first week goes well, doesn't become too overwhelming. I know if this is your first time being a college student, sometimes that can be overwhelming. And when you add stuff, into an online environment, it makes it even more overwhelming sometimes. But you can always reach out. I can show you where you can find my information if you haven't already through this simple syllabus. We will probably start with that here momentarily. I'm going to share my page here momentarily so you can see where I'm getting all my information from. So bear with me here just 1 second while I get everything sort of up, and you can kind of see everything here. So let me see here. I'm going to take this off so you can actually see everything on my end. All right. So you should be seeing your Blackboard page. At least you're going to be seeing mine. Yours is going to be a little bit different because it's going to show your courses. On my end, it's going to show the courses that I'm actually teaching this summer. So I'm going to click on courses. And again, it should bring you up to your current courses, basically the summer semester of 2024. We're going to click on your particular URL here, or CRN basically, which is the English 1010. Click on that. It's going to take you to this page where you're going to see that I've already posted some announcements, some assignments. This is just something to kind of keep in mind. This is all the stuff I sort of built the course with last week when we had a little bit of a break. Some of this stuff you're going to need to know right off the bat, and then others you're just going to have to, as the folders for that particular week open up, that stuff is going to pop up for you. So some of this stuff you may not need to know or really have to pay attention to. Needs attention is more or less for me. Let's say that you upload an assignment. It's going to basically tell me, hey, you need to go grade this. With grading assignments, I try to get them back within at least a week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on how many I have. Like if it's a lot of essays coming in, essays usually take me a little bit of time just because I try to read through them thoroughly and give them, decent feedback, constructive criticism, so you could do well on the next major writing assignment to come. So those may take about a week, maybe 2 weeks. They may be a little sooner depending on how long they are and how many I have. I mean, I'm teaching a couple other classes, another 11 or 1010 that is basically a hybrid class. And then I have a 1101, which is also a hybrid class. And then I have 1105, which is a technical and business communication class, mainly for the TRF students. Right now, that's the class that has like 22 students in it. The other classes are relatively small, but again, depending on how much stuff I have coming in, depends on how fast I can, grade this stuff and get it back. But you will get a grade. If you turn it in, you get a grade. Quizzes, stuff that are, peer reviews, that type stuff, I can usually get that back within a week, if not sooner. But again, I'm not one of those instructors that you turn stuff in, you're not going to get a grade on it until later in the semester. You generally going to get a grade on it fairly quickly. The grade book online in your Blackboard page is going to be, for the most part, about every week to 2 weeks is going to be updated to current grades. So you shouldn't have to be, you're not going to be in the dark about what you have in the course going from 1 week to the next. You should be able to see that in real time. And you can always email me if you have any questions or concerns about that. If you look over here, this is pretty much where it takes you is the home page. You have the announcements. This is where I'm going to send upload announcements to. You might have got this one already. It usually goes to not only this page, but I also have it set to go to your Coastal Pines student email. So basically, you have 2 ways to get this message. That's kind of how they want us to do that. So, you're not forgetting something. So when you check your student email, which is your Office 365, and I can show you where you can find a lot of that stuff too, you're probably going to get a message that is similar to this one. And anytime else that I do announcements, it will sort of be on this page first, and then it will send over to your email. We're going to come back to the simple syllabus. We're going to come back to the lessons here. This is your discussion board. When you have a peer review, and you're going to have several peer reviews throughout the semester when it deals with your rough drafts, I will create something here, give you some information. You follow that information, and this is where you're going to post not only the questions to that peer review sheets. When you do have a peer review, you're going to upload your rough draft, and your partner is going to upload a rough draft. So you're going to exchange drafts through your discussion board. And based on your reading of each other's essays, that's when you're going to answer those peer review questions on those assignment sheets. Again, there's nothing up there yet. When we get to essay 1, which is going to be your personal narrative, you will have a peer review assignment coming up, and I will explain that a little bit more in detail when that happens. For most major writing projects, you will have a peer review. There is a period, I believe it's essay 3, essay 4, just due because of time, and the midterm Respondus Lockdown browser event. You're not going to have a peer reviews for those particular essays in question. And one reason is because time constraint. The other reason is I want you to have practice of proofreading, editing, and spell checking your own work before you have to do that timed essay for your midterm. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about that as it gets closer. That will be more or less coming up in June. If you look, we do have the Respondus Lockdown browser. You probably want to go ahead and start looking at some of this stuff. Go ahead and start downloading that browser that you're going to need for the midterm event. Again, that's probably going to happen about the middle of June. But right now, since we're just starting, there's not a lot going on. You might want to give yourself some time throughout the week to read through and watch some of this stuff on Respondus, because for every online class that you take, you're going to have to do at least one Respondus event. Ours happens to be the midterm. It's going to be a 60-minute timed essay where you're going to have to type for 60 minutes. Again, I will give you some information as it gets closer. That's going to happen about week 6, I believe, is when we're going to have midterm for this semester, since we only have a 10-week course, right? But we will talk a little bit more about that. But yes, you definitely want to look at these videos and download the instructions for that particular lockdown browser, because without it, you're not going to be able to do your midterm for this class. You do have online tutoring via tutor.com. On my end, it's going to show something a little bit different than yours because I'm the instructor and you're the student. But this is free. It's basically 24/7. I would be careful because in the past, the college pays this, I guess, per use. And I believe back in February or March, we got an email from the vice president saying there was only like 300 hours left. I think the hours get renewed every semester. Don't quote me on that. I haven't heard any other issues that we're running out of time or whatever the case may be. What I would suggest as it relates to this class and tutor.com, I would only use it when you really definitely do need to use it. Maybe during the peer review session when you're sending an essay into the discussion board. You can also send a tutor a version of your rough draft, and you can also send me a version of your rough draft. That way you have 3 sets of eyes looking at your work. And generally what I usually tell people, the more sets of eyes that look at your work, the better the overall final draft of that project should be, especially if you have 3 or more people looking at it. Whatever one person can't, don't understand or can't catch, hopefully the other 2 sets of eyes will catch. That way you have sort of a pool of knowledge coming in 3 different directions where you can really get that essay going from that rough draft quality to a final draft quality that's going to give you the better grade, not only on that assignment, but hopefully if you do that throughout the next 10 weeks with your work, you have a really high overall grade as your semester average. Let's see here. Going back, my grades, when I start to grade stuff, you're going to see stuff here being graded. As you can tell, we do have an assignment coming up Sunday. We'll talk a little bit more about that here momentarily. You do have a live librarian. When we get closer to the research element of the course, which would be really like the last month or so of the course, you're probably going to need to talk to a librarian to find the 6 scholarly sources that you will need, not only for your annotated bib assignment, but also your research paper assignment. Again, you don't necessarily have to worry about that right now, but as we get closer, really after midterm, you're going to want to be mindful of the library resources, because you're going to have to get your scholarly sources from Galileo and some of the databases that we do have here at the library. Get rid of that. So going back, let's look at your lessons real quick, and then we're going to come back to the simple syllabus. So here, there's some more information, distance learning. You want to go through and look at these videos if you're unsure about the format, Office 365 and student email, the single sign-on, Okta account, and your banner web orientation. It also talks a little bit about the using of Dropboxes and creating discussion posts, which you will have to be able to do as this course moves on. And if you look, this is where you're going to find your course textbook. There's really 2. One is a handbook. If you click on it, it will take you there. It's a PDF handbook. It's your MLA 9 handbook. So for everything that you type in this class, essay-wise, proposal-wise, research paper-wise, homework-wise, you want to use the MLA 9 format. And we will talk a little bit more about this as it gets closer to really writing that first essay. Because it seems like every semester I have a few students that they want to type or write in APA, or they want to do a different format, and they lose really easy points when they don't follow the proper format. This will sort of go through that. It talks about formatting a research paper. This, again, like I said, as it gets closer to after midterm, we will talk a little bit more about this handbook and how it could be helpful for you. But for right now, this is just there for your personal knowledge. Our actual textbook, when there's page numbers, when you see page numbers in the syllabus or in your weekly folder, refers to this particular OER, which is an open educational resource, means it's free for you. You can access it anywhere that you can access Blackboard and internet. It has some grammar, spelling, and language sections in it that if you need some help brushing up on your grammar, commas, punctuation, that type of stuff, it will help you with that. It also has some information as it relates to some of the rhetorical modes that we're going to be studying: narration, description, cause and effect. You want to pay attention to, if you see numbers in the syllabus or on your weekly folder that correspond to this book, you want to go by the numbers that are up here, or really up here, not necessarily the ones that are up here on the PDF, because they're going to be different. Basically, the numbers up here on top of the page, because as you can tell, page 5 is different than what it shows up here as being page 10. So that could kind of confuse you. Otherwise, you can always come back to this table of content page and kind of look up the information from there. The information in this book is, I mean, for what it is, because it's free, it is what it is. It's not the greatest textbook, but it's not the worst. You're going to have a lot of examples, stuff in blue, stuff, bold-faced. You want to pay attention to anything that's, in a different color code or bold-face. You're going to have a lot of pages that's going to have examples. Look through those as much as you need to. Charts are a really good thing that you might want to pay close attention to. Look at the key takeaways that sort of summarizes that particular chapter. The exercises, they're going to ask you to do this or do that. That's up to you whether you want to do the exercises. I don't collect them up. Like, I don't take that stuff up for homework or anything. That's more or less extra practice if you need it. The bad thing about this book is, even if you do those exercises, you're not going to get the answers because there's no answers in the back. But if you want to email me and say, hey, am I doing this right? Just give me the page number and the exercise, and I take a look at it and see if you're going in the right direction. Where I would probably do the exercises mostly would be when you get to the grammar stage. Let's say you need some help, with parallelism, or if you need help with verb tense, I would do some of those exercises. And then, like I said, email me if you want me to check to make sure that you're doing them right. If you're having issues with, writing in the correct verb tense, or if you have dangling modifier issues, whatever the case may be. But that's where you're going to find the information as it relates to page numbers and textbooks. If you go back to your lesson page, how I have our course set up is by folder, and really it's by month. So like here, the May folder, we're in May. When we get to June, you're going to be in the June folder, and then July folder, because our semester is going to be over by August 1st. So if you click on the May folder, you're going to see the weeks in May, right? Week 1, week 2, week 3. So week 1 is this week 2 would be next, week 3 would be basically the last week of May. And I give you sort of a description. You will see this similar description in your simple syllabus. We're going to come back to that here momentarily. I sort of give you a title of what that particular week is going to be about. Some things may spill over into the following week. Generally about midweek or so, the next week's folder will open up. These things are sort of set on a timer. So like this week 1 would particularly go from like today until Sunday coming up, and then after midnight on Sunday it will sort of close. By then week 2 should open up. Week 2 these may already be sort of opened up for you. You can kind of work ahead if you like. I would be weary about working too far ahead if you don't know what you're doing, because if you start doing a lot of this work ahead of time, thinking that you know what you're doing and wanting to go ahead and start submitting stuff, and then you start screwing up on the assignment, it's going to confuse you and it's going to confuse me, because I'm going to be thinking, hey, this person's already in week 3, but they're having issues with week 1 and week 2 stuff, and it's going to hurt them going forward. But they're not wanting to slow down, so at that point, it's going to kind of, snowball your grade a little bit. So be careful. I would sort of, until you get really a hang of your own working pace, your style, your pace. Really, online courses is all about time management and pacing yourself. If you get to a really good position where, hey, you understand what you need to do, you read through the textbook, you read through the folders and the material that's online, you know what you're doing, then by all means, work ahead. If you're one of those that easily get confused or get lost in an online environment, I would sort of stay with the class from 1 week to the next until you really get sort of more of a hang of self-pacing. So if you click on the week 1, which is basically where we're at, you're going to see 2 folders. One, basically, they're called aspects. So you have composition and rhetoric. This is where you're going to find a lot of the stuff in your e-text. I give you some supplemental material here, meaning you can click on this and basically get the same information as you would in the e-text. What I would suggest that you do is either you go ahead and read these pages in that e-text, and then if you're still unsure, come back here and click on this and go through this particular part of the folder to give you some additional information. Or if you want to go here first, and then if you, again, sort of do the opposite. If you don't understand what you're reading here, go back to your textbook and read those pages there. It also has the grammar aspect. So I give you pages to the e-textbook as it relates to the grammar, but I also give you some videos or some information that relate to that particular stuff. So again, as it relates to the grammar, I'm gonna let that be up to you, how much extra practice you think you may need. I'll probably know a lot more probably as it gets closer to that first rough draft of essay 1. You've probably heard a lot about, run-ons and common splices and fragments and subject-verb agreement in previous English classes. It all depends on how long it's been since you've written a really, formal professional level paper. For some of y'all, you may have just got out of high school, so this stuff may be fresh. For others, you may be been out of school for about 20 years and you're a little bit rusty. It's up there and you just have to, dust off the cobwebs in your head to get it out. But having a little bit of a refresher or a review, being that a video or exercises in the textbook could be all that you need. Again, if you find yourself making sort of similar mistakes from one assignment to the next and it deals with your grammar and that type deal, then please reach out so we can kind of work together to solve whatever grammar issues that you're going to have. Pre-writing, purpose, audience, tone, and content. Again, you can click on this. It takes you to additional supplemental material that corresponds with your textbook. So you're seeing the information twice, so to speak. So if you're not understanding it in one medium, hopefully you're understanding it in the other. And that's when, if you're still not understanding what's going on, that's when you come and you email me and we sort of discuss and talk about where the problem might be. Hopefully there won't be too many problems with that. Hopefully you will find these pages pretty self-explanatory and very user-friendly. Going back to the lessons, looking back in the week 1 folder, you're going to see the other aspect, rhetorical modes of writing. We're going to start off really this week and next with looking at the personal narrative, narration, which when you think of, giving a narrative to something or narration. It's basically you telling a story. It should have a beginning, middle, and end. Think of your favorite TV show, think of your favorite movie, think of your favorite novel. There's usually a beginning, middle, and end. Life, when you're born, has a beginning, middle, and end. So think of it in ways of that, of telling a story in a way that has a beginning, middle, and end. So when we clicked on the aspects for this particular rhetorical mode, we do have a video here. It talks a little bit about how to write an excellent narrative essay, because that's our first major essay that you're going to have to write. I give you some page numbers in your e-text, 89 to 94. There is a sample model student essay in there. You might want to look at that. As you get closer to drafting your own narrative essay, to see how the structure sets up, right? To see the beginning, middle, and end. To see how the paragraphs flow, how the topic sentences are at the beginning of each body paragraph. To look to see the position of your thesis statement, which should be the last complete sentence of your introduction paragraph, which basically tells the main idea of the entire essay. So a lot of this should be reviewed. You probably heard of topic sentences, you probably heard of paragraphs, you probably heard of thesis statements, introduction paragraphs, conclusion paragraphs. The deal that we want to sort of stress, because this is a college English class, is at some point you're going to have to move away from the whole 5-paragraph essay structure that you learned in high school, right? You had your introduction, you had your 3 body paragraphs, and your conclusion. Well, as we move along this semester, you're going to notice that with each essay assignment, the page length gets a little bit longer and the word count gets a little bit longer. Well, you can't just write a simple 5-paragraph or what they call a hamburger essay to be able to fit those requirements. You're going to have to write multiple body paragraphs to the point where you get to the end and you have a research paper that's about 5 to 8 pages in length. Well, you're going to have to write more than just 5 body paragraphs to be able to get 5 to 8 pages. You're just going to have to do it. So we start off kind of small and short, but then we build up to that particular word count and page length requirement as we get closer to the research paper. If you look here, I'll go ahead and give you the essay 1 topics and directions. We can go ahead and pop that up real quick. You're going to have to download it. It's going to pop up as a Microsoft Word file. You're going to want to type your essays on Microsoft Word, save it as a document, docx.doc. I wouldn't upload PDF files. I mean, you can, I can read them. I can't mark them up. I can't mark up PDF files. The only thing I can do is read and give them a grade. So if you're not really wanting the feedback, I guess you can send me the PDF files. But I would suggest that most people want the feedback, just in case if they're doing something wrong, they're not continuing to do that same mistake in essay 2 and essay 3 and lose points for it. So if you look here, this is basically the instructions for the first essay, the narrative. I give you 5 topics. Choose one of the 5. If you don't like any of the 5 and you have another topic in mind that you can do the narrative on and follow these particular requirements, please email me what that topic is and what you plan on going, the direction you plan on going with it. So I know that you're going to have enough to give me 2 to 3 pages or 500 and 750 words for essay 1. Now you're going to use MLA 9, double space, Times New Roman 12. If you go to your Microsoft Word and you go to File, and if you go to this particular where it says you can go to New, and mine's already there, but if you go right here to your little search bar where it says Online Templates, if you type in MLA and hit enter, it's probably going to come up with a couple different things. One's going to be a research paper. One's going to be just a regular essay. Click on either one, but once you click on it, it's going to download, and basically it's going to show you how you should style your paper. But what I was getting at is you're going to want to have a title to your essay. So I'm going to come back to this here momentarily. You want to erase all this other stuff they provided for you because it's their information, not yours. So I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of that. What you're going to need to do is have a header. So this is going to be your name first and last. So I'm just going to go James Smith. You already have professor there. You could say Professor Wilson, or you can do Mr. Wilson. That's going to go next. You need to have the abbreviation of our particular course, which is capital ENGL for English. And then course number is 1010. And then you want to put the date. And let's just say we're going to use today's date. I would say 5/13/24. And then you want to go up here to your page number. And this is where you're going to put your last name. And then hit the X button. You should, hopefully, when you get to page 2, page 3, page 4, so on and so forth, this is going to change. The only thing that's really going to change is Smith is going to be there. Your last name is going to be there, but the number should change. As it relates to the title, you want to give each one of your essays a creative title. Don't just call it narration, narrative, paper one, essay one. Titles can be anything, they don't necessarily have to be a complete sentence. It could be a couple words. I mean, think about movie titles, think about television titles. I mean, think of the television show Friends. It's not a complete thought, but it's just one word. Star Wars, it's 2 words. You want to give it something more than just the generic essay one, because I'm going to have other essay ones come in. And, you want whatever title you choose to reflect the writing that comes in that particular essay. So let's just say you pick something from essay 1, and you can say transformation. Let's see. My first day of college. That's a narrative title. Notice certain words in your title need to be capitalized. So you might want to be careful. You don't need to capitalize every single word, but at the same time, you don't need to leave certain words lowercase. Space down. Notice we're left a line. If you looked up here, what you want to do is tab for each one of your paragraphs. So I'm just going to put X's here just to show you, because we deleted all that stuff. And I'm going to make this a little bit faster for us, just to show you what page 2 is going to look like. So for each new paragraph that you have, you need to indent it or hit the tab button. But if you look, I'll go to page 2, and if you look, our last name went with us with page 2 now. If you click here, this really needs to be Times New Roman 12. So if you click on down and look for Times New Roman, it should already be there on font size 12. Notice everything is already in double spaced. You don't have to mess around with the space. The margin deal should already be set up the way you want it to. So let me see, layout, margins, it's already 1 inch, top, left, right, and bottom. So you're good with that. So if you use that template that's already built into your Microsoft Word, you already have, only thing you have to do is get rid of the information they gave you and supply your own to get started. And what I would do is save one of those templates. So at least save that part of the template maybe. So when you get to SA2, only thing you need to change is the date and whatever your second essay title is, third essay title, and just get rid of that old information and start typing the new. Then you're not having to necessarily go back and try to reinvent the wheel and figure out how to make the heading again and the template and all that stuff. And again, these are really easy points everybody should be able to get right off the bat if they just follow this template. A lot of students don't follow this template, just start typing however they want, and that's why they're starting to lose. That's why they will start to lose points as they move ahead writing these essays. So you have 5 topics here. Again, it needs to be 2 to 3 pages or 500 to 750 words, whatever comes first. But I would warn you, if you get to 500 pages, or 500 words rather, and you still have more to say, then you need to go ahead and continue to go closer to that 750. Same thing is, if you have 2.5 pages, but if you try to end your essay at 2.5 pages and it still doesn't make sense, then you need to try to get to 3 pages to finish it off. So when I really say 2 to 3 pages, I really mean 2 to 3 pages, no more, no less. 1 page is not going to work. 4 pages may be too much. So right now I'm looking for between 2 to 3 or 500 and 750 words in the MLA 9 format, double space Times New Roman. Again, you got 5 choices here. Read through those. You only have to pick one. You don't have to do all 5. Pick one to create your 2 to 3 page essay. If you don't like the 5 topics I have, if you have something again that you can fit into a personal narrative, then please email me before you start drafting. So I know that you have more than 1 page that you can kind of fill up. All right, moving along here, we're going to go back. This week's really major assignment as it relates to the Wolf quiz. I say it's a Wolf quiz, but it's really going to be like a little writing exercise. Generally, when you're taking online classes, excuse me, they want us to give a assignment relatively quick within that first week, just for verification purposes. One, to see who's enrolled in the class is still going to be here come, this time next week, because at some point, if you do not submit this first assignment, which deals with this Wolf quiz or Wolf writing, they're going to want me to drop you because you didn't submit a particular work in that first week. And usually the drop or the purge period will start to happen next week. So if you have any unpaid bills as it relates to the college, you want to go ahead and get that taken care of, because if they purge you from that, they're going to purge you from all classes until you pay that, whatever you owe the college. And then it becomes kind of a pain to get reinstated back into your classes. And there might be some late fees as it relates to that. So you want to be careful of that. The other thing is what this particular Wolf quiz or writing assignment is going to kind of tell me is show me and you maybe where your writing ability is at this point. Again, this is week 1. By the time we get to week 10, I mean, clearly you don't have enough time. You're not going to be Shakespeare, in 10 weeks. But the process is to get you writing at a professional, formal, academic level writing, so that you're writing better leaving week 10 than you did come in and start writing on week 1. So that's the process. That's the goal. That's the hope. So you can leave this class writing better than when you first started. So you can find that particular Wolf piece, Death of the Moth, right here. It's really a short reading. It's 2 pages. It's a really good professional narrative piece. It has a beginning, middle, and end. Granted, they don't double space, or Wolf doesn't double space here for the sake of it's this publication. But if, had this been double spaced in the MLA, you're probably looking at 4 or 5 pages. Again, your narrative doesn't have to be that long, but if you're looking for something that's been published, that's made money as a narrative piece of writing, this is a oldie but a goodie, as they usually say. So this is a really good piece. Some of y'all might have already read this at a, maybe in high school, maybe at another English class. But if you're looking for something that does sort of hook the audience, that keeps you wondering, guessing what's to come from one sentence to the next, from one paragraph to the next, this is one good piece. What I will probably do, I may take one of these questions and have that sort of be based on your writing quiz or that, that particular wolf piece assignment that you have to do on Sunday. If not, it will be, a question relating to this particular essay. So you definitely want to read it so you'll be able to, come Sunday, start the semester off with a really good grade. Going back, you would click here. This would be the Dropbox. I will have the information here. Again, like I said, I have to go back and upload that particular writing assignment or quiz. What you want to do is upload your file. Again, you want to type it up as a Microsoft Word doc. The benefit of using Microsoft Word at this point, it gets you kind of used to, styling your format, the right way in the MLA 9 format. You do have the spell and grammar check. It is an English class. I will be checking for spelling and grammar. And if your spelling and grammar is not the greatest, you will, start getting points taken off. So that's the other thing that you might want to go back and look at your e-text is if you already know coming into this class, you're going to have some issues, let's say with commas. You can go ahead and start looking up punctuation, how to correct some of those so you're not running into the same mistakes every time we have something that needs to be turned in as it relates to a writing activity. Going back, that's pretty much it for week 1. You can read a little bit about Virginia Woolf, the writer of The Death of the Moth here if you want to look at her bio. The other thing that we're going to look at real quick is simple syllabus. This is where you're going to find all the other course information. Since we're online, this is the description of the course. I'm not going to read through all of this because I know you can read. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. This is going to be up the whole semester, so you can kind of come back and read this as you like. This is our textbook. I already showed you how to get it. You don't have to buy it. This is some more information about Respondus. Again, I would, since we have a little bit of time, definitely read this Respondus information. Look at some of these LibGuides. Download the link to get the stuff set up before week 6. I will fill this out as it relates to what the event's going to be and what date when it's going to sort of open up. You will know that as it gets closer to week 6. This is my personal information. This is my office number. I do teach classes in person throughout the week, Monday through Thursday. So if you try to call the number and you don't reach me, you may get the answer machine. Leave the answer or leave your message, phone number. Clearly state which class you're in, who you are. I would say probably the easiest way to get with me, honestly, would be my email. And this is the email, capital P, capital W. Yes, it has to be a capital P, capital W. wilson@coastalpines.edu. If you type that in and don't see a picture of me, I'll show you that here momentarily. Chances are you're not sending an email to me. You're sending it to somebody else, and who knows, I may or may not get it. If you're not using the Coastal Pines student email account, I would recommend that you do use that because the college has a lot of firewalls out. So if you're using like a alternative email, a Gmail account, a Hotmail account, some high school email account, then because of the firewall, again, I may or may not get it. I may get it and it may come in, 3 or 4 weeks down the road. So I would definitely use the Coastal Pines email account that they provide to you because you are a student. My office number is 1214. Generally, my office classroom is 1216. So again, if I'm not in the office, I'm probably going to be in that room, possibly teaching. I do have office hours Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 9:15 a.m., 2 to 3, and then Tuesday, Thursday, 5 to 6. I do offer some tutoring days, Monday through Wednesday. I do 1 to 2 p.m. In-person tutoring, usually downstairs at the library that's on campus. And then on Thursday, 4 to 5 is virtual tutoring. So if you want to set up sort of like what we're doing here, a Teams meeting, we can do something one-on-one. Or if there's more people who want to join, we can do sort of like a class session. I know everybody that takes online courses usually has a different schedule than most. Either they work during the day or they work at night, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's hard to get everybody online at, all at one time, but it's not impossible. I've had it done. Just let me know as we get, go through the semester if you want to do some online tutoring or like some online class sessions. We can work with each other's schedule to make that happen. This is your learning outcomes. Again, I'm going to let you have a chance to read those classroom procedures. Since we're mainly online, you don't necessarily have to worry so much about the classroom procedures. I will tell you, generally I work 4 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is what they consider my off days. I do check emails over the weekend. Just be wary though. I do have a wife. I do have 2 kids. I do have a life and a family outside of work. I don't sort of park myself, behind the computer Friday, Saturday, and Sunday either. But if you do have something that's quick and easy that I can, answer, I will try to get something back to you within a 24-hour period. Most times, if it's holidays or over the weekend, it could take up to 48 hours depending on what's going on. You can send me drafts, but again, it may be a day or 2 before I can get them back to you. So if there's something that you really want me to look at, and you don't want to necessarily wait 2 days for, you might want to send it earlier and during the business week. Here's the evaluation and academics grading. So we grade on 10-point increments. Anything 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, 70 to 79 is a C, 60 to 69 is a D, 0 to 59 is an F. Most program of studies need to have you a C or higher, which is what everybody wants, is a C or higher. So hopefully we won't have any conversations about folks possibly needing to withdraw or drop if their grade is a D or lower. But we will see as the semester moves on. Things do pop up and happen in life. Here are the grade breakdowns. You're going to have really 5 major essays spread out over 10 weeks. Essay 1 is worth 10%. Essay 2 is 12. Your midterm essay is 15. Essay 4 is 16. Your research paper is going to be worth 17%. So collectively, the major stake assignments, the MSA, make up 70% of your grade. Everything else, the low stake assignments, LSA, quizzes, proposals, annotated bibs, final exams, so on and so forth, make up the other 30%, which round it off to being, a total of 100% that you can earn in this class. If time allows, there might be some extra credit opportunities, but at this level at college, if you do your work, if you do it right, if you reach out and get the help that you need prior to turning something in, you won't need the extra credit if you're doing what you need to do. So I will say that. I can't necessarily guarantee it that you'll have extra credit, but there is a possibility that as we go through the semester, there will be little bits and pieces of extra credit that you could possibly do. We just have to see how our time is. Academic cheating, you want to read through that. Falsification. We will talk a lot more about plagiarism as it gets closer, mainly to the research paper. Be careful of AI programs. Don't go out there and have some AI write your essay. We do have checkers. We will check them. And it's the same deal as if you get caught plagiarizing or cheating on a particular quiz or assignment, you use AI to write your work. You get caught with it, the first offense is you're going to get a 0 on that particular assignment. No questions asked. I can show you the proof. I can give you the proof. We have ways of busting people for plagiarizing, for buying papers, for using other people's papers, and for using the 100 different AI programs out there. I busted folks last semester plagiarizing and using AI. The deal with zeros, and this is what you have to kind of keep in mind, whether you plagiarize, you use AI, or you just forget to turn something in. Each 0 that you make is going to drop your score, your semester average, by 20 points. So if you get 2 zeros, you're already, the highest you could possibly make is going to be a 60 at that point. If you get 3 zeros, you're pretty much, I mean, you can do the math, right? 20, 40, that's 60 points. 100 from 60, you're already at a 40. More than 3 zeros, you're definitely, I mean, you probably should drop if you miss more than 3 assignments, really. Because even if you do make 100, to be able to counteract that, you would have to make at least one, well, you'd have to make 5 or 6 100s in a row. At some point, we're just going to run out of assignments, because let's say that you made 3 zeros this week. Let's say you forget to turn in the wolf assignment, you got a 0 there. You forget to turn in the peer review next week, there's a 0 there. You forget to turn in the first essay at the end of the month, that's another 0. So guess what? Now to be able to just pull your 40 up to a 70, you have to make 15 100s. We don't have 15 assignments in this class. So if you start forgetting assignments and just don't turn them in, then maybe this online course is not going to be for you. Because again, the zeros are going to hurt your grade. I don't have time for late work, as the syllabus basically says. I would rather you turn stuff in earlier than later, because I got multiple other classes with, stuff coming in. It throws grading off for me. It throws getting feedback off for you. So just know that if you're going to be late, you might as well keep it, because it's just going to earn you a 0. Most of the assignments you have a week to 2 weeks to complete. As it gets to the research paper, you're going to have multiple weeks to get that in. So it's not like I'm rushing you to do this. I'm not saying that, hey, you got essay 3 due tomorrow. It needs to be 5 pages. What, you didn't know this? No, you're going to have weeks to be able to draft, to do peer reviews, to get help. So it's not like I'm just throwing stuff on you like right off the bat. Like for this particular quiz, the wolf assignment, you basically have nearly 7 days to get that done. So it's not like I'm telling you, hey, you got to get it done by tomorrow midnight. No, I'm giving you until Sunday. It should be a really easy, because there's only 2 pages to read. And the question I'm going to give you once I put it up there shouldn't be that bad to answer, as long as you did the reading. If you are foolish enough to get caught cheating, plagiarizing, using AI again, then the second offense is you just fail a class automatically, no matter what your grade is. And then you go before a board, which is going to be me, you, the president, the vice president. We're going to look at all the information that we got from the cheating. And then the higher ups, powers that be, are going to determine whether you are suspended for a semester, 2 semesters, couple years, or for good. So it is a serious offense. It will wreck your GPA. It will stay on your transcript. In the end, when in doubt, ask if you need help how to cite something. If you're worrying if it sounds like AI, or if you're plagiarizing, maybe when you think that you're not, but you actually are, it's better that you ask ahead of time, because I can help before you turn something in. But once it comes into the Dropbox and it's forcing me to grade it, after that, I mean, the glove's off. I mean, you either plagiarized it or you didn't. You either used AI or you didn't. I'm going to know. And a lot of times you already know before you turn it in whether you used AI or if you plagiarized something. So be smart about it. Work smarter, not harder, because nobody wants to take this class over again. We offer this class annually. Fall and spring, it's 15 weeks compared to 10. But still, why take it over again if you can do the right thing the right way the first time around? You got some copyright notices here that you want to look at. Campus police services, students with disability. You want to probably go through that and read that. A little bit more about tutor.com, the library services. Here's the security numbers if you're at different campuses, actually in person. We do have an equal opportunity statement. Here's some of those emails for human resources, Title X, ADA, Section 504. This is the course schedule. This is what you sort of seen there on the weekly folders. This goes week by week, what we're doing. It is a little lengthy, but it gives you the information as it relates what's due as well. There's also, it should give you some page numbers. Again, the page numbers go back to your OER e-textbook. What you really want to pay attention is the assignment checklist down below. This is going to tell you what is due. Generally, most things are due on a Sunday basis by 11:59. You want to double check to see though, because these dates could be a little different. Like the peer reviews, like this first peer review is going to be due on what, the 23rd of May, which is a Thursday. Discussion board, again, as it gets closer to that, we will talk about that. The midterm deal, the Respondus is scheduled for the 20th of June. So again, you want to go back and read all that stuff and download the Respondus app before the 20th of June. What I'm going to have to do, and I realize it's doing it now, simple syllabus is something new that we started this semester. And as you can tell, once you get past the 31st of July, which is the final exam period, it starts to repopulate the schedule again, because it's going by the due dates that's already in the Blackboard. So I will have to go through and clear that out. So don't get sort of confused, because you're going to say, well, there's something here on the 9th of June, and then you're going to look here and it's going to show the 9th of June again. It's basically the same assignment. Just bear with me, because last week it wasn't populating over correctly, so I had to go through and you know, sort of do it manually. But now I guess because the semester started, it's sort of corrected that, and it has populated that stuff over from the lesson pages in here. So if you go up to this point up, that's what you really just need to concentrate on. I will get this duplicate stuff. I will get rid of that as soon as I can. But for the most part, that's your civil syllabus. That's pretty much week one in a nutshell. As we go through, I will try to do weekly videos. Some may be as lengthy as this one, some may be shorter. Some weeks it may just be where I sort of combined a video that talks about, you know, week 2 and week 3 sort of together. I will try to do the videos as often as I can. Again, you can reach out if you want to do something one-on-one as it relates to in-person tutoring if you're in the Camden County area, or if you want to set up something WebEx or Teams wise, we can do it that way as well. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a good rest of your week, and please let me know if you're having any issues with anything relating to Blackboard, or just if you need something to be clarified a little bit more. Until we meet again, which will probably be sometime next week, I'll have another video. Again, reach out if you need help. Have a good one.